My husband told me that God blessed us with a child after his affair partner gave birth to his baby. So I decided to bless him with divorce papers. I, 29 years old, and my husband, 44, have been together for 5 years and married for 2. I met him at the church I started attending when I moved cities to start my career. I work for an insurance company and he's a pastor. We have a notable age gap, but he was always kind to me and made me feel special. A week ago, he came home and told me we needed to talk. He told me through tears that he had been having an affair with one of our community members and that she had been pregnant with twins. She had gone into labor. She and one of the twins died, and the other was in the NICU. He said we needed to step up and wanted me to turn my office into a nursery and set up a cot in the room so we could take turns. I became distressed and told him I wanted some time to think. I was not sure I wanted to do this. He told me that I had made a vow to him in marriage and that God had blessed us with a child. This is our cross to bear, and God will never give us something we cannot handle. I told him that it seemed God had given her more than she could handle because she had died. He slapped me and told me that I needed to serve my husband. God had chosen me as this child's mother, and I needed to be his humble servant. I just feel so strange. Yesterday, I cried so hard I threw up. This woman died, yet I feel bad for myself. I feel so ugly. I wanted children and was saving for IVF because I am infertile, but now that I have a chance to have a child, I do not want it. I feel like I'd be robbing its mother's grave. I have seen my husband, who no longer looks kind. He looks his age and is very tired. I want to abandon him and the child. I'm only 29. I can start over. I have a remote job so I can take a day off when he goes to the NICU, pack my essentials, and leave. Neither he nor the child deserves this. And although this is my circus, that is not my monkey. Update. For those of you who are asking how the other woman died, it was an amniotic fluid embolism. I don't know much about those, but when they happen, things go wrong really fast. We lived in a more rural area, so they weren't ready for something like that. I didn't leave immediately. I know now that I should have. It just wasn't that easy. I stayed for 2 months. I knew if I did not try to make it work, I would not be able to live with it. Not because I wanted to save my marriage, but because what ifs keep me up at night enough as is. I went to marriage counseling with my husband, but it was ultimately fruitless. Of course, it was Christian counseling. I felt like their goal was for me to forgive him rather than try to help me. I was so utterly alone during that time. My parents and brother are also very religious, so even though they weren't happy with my husband, they kept urging me to do what a good Christian wife would do. I spent so much time suffering in my head that I began to realize that I was just going through the motions, doing what I thought people expected of me. I entered a state of derealization for a time, and that was an absolute mindfuck. The feeling of nothing, being honest, not even myself, was horrible. During this period, my husband brought his baby home, and while he tried to split the care 50-50 at first, he ultimately didn't trust me to look after the baby because I was lost in space. So he ended up being the primary provider. When I was with the baby, all I could think about was how its existence ruined my life. It'd look at me with big blue eyes, and I would just wish it would disappear. I would actively spend time resenting a baby. There was a time when I thought to myself, hoping it would stop breathing. That was when I knew that I needed to leave. I was blaming a baby and wishing ill upon it, and that was not okay to do. I sought services through my work to talk to a therapist, and I eventually came back to earth. She helped me make a plan. I did not fear my husband. The slap was a one-off event. However, screw him. He doesn't deserve closure. I packed my essentials and dipped on a night he had a long Bible study. He always took his baby with him because he didn't trust me. I met him quickly after college, so I had little to take regarding furnishings. I fit everything I wanted in 3 suitcases and 4 moving boxes. It all fit into my SUV after some mediocre Tetris skills. I was able to change my phone number online before I left, but I did leave the divorce papers under his pillow with my lawyer's contact info, kind of like the tooth fairy, but for adults' holes. I was the breadwinner. In my state, we were not married long enough for me to pay spousal maintenance. At least that is what my lawyer said. I own my vehicle outright. We have our bank accounts and a shared expenses account. We file taxes separately, and the church owns the house. He's being an S about it all, but I hope it will be done soon. I got a decent apartment in a city a few hundred miles away. I found a new therapist, met some new friends, and found a new church with loving people. I still have my days, but for the most part, I'm content. It will always hurt on some level, but I'm working to regain my power. I turn 30 next month and hope it will be the start of my best